Ladies, welcome to the Mommy Podcast. We are talking about the C-section shelf today. So to start things off, if you're going in for a scheduled cesarean, or maybe you are surprised by a C-section while you're in labor and you're in the hospital and things end up going that direction, I wanted to talk about the post, the C-section, the scar. What is that going to look like, feel like? What is that experience going in? Because you can know that you're having a C-section. You can look up pictures of scars. You can see, this is what I did. I'm talking from personal experience. Looking at pictures of scars, thinking, okay, is mine going to look like this? Is it going to look like this? How is it going to feel? What's it going to change about my body? And even though I had so much information and I looked up so many different things and I read so many different articles, I still didn't have any idea, none whatsoever, of what that would look like, what that scar would feel like on my body. One thing I found was, and I should share pictures. If I get enough comments on this episode, perhaps I will share my personal photos of my C-section scar from week 1 to where I'm at now, which is 4 years post that C-section scar, and how much it has astronomically changed. Guys, it doesn't even look like the same incision line. I was horrified when I first saw my incision. I had bubbles, I had bruising, I had a raised scar for many years, to the point where in my subsequent pregnancies, an obstetrician actually said, "Oh, you must have keloid scarring because that's what this C-section scar looks like." And I was like, "What? No, I don't keloid scar. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, the C-section scar is so raised." It was that prominent. There was a lot going on. Now, fast forward 4 years later, and I would say that the biggest change happened at 3 years. 3 years after that scar, it is flat. It's kind of like a silvery gray. It's very faint, and it used to be, it was red for years. It was raised for years. I felt like I had this like little tiny shelf, like this little flab of skin that, if you wear those super tight Lululemon pants that are a nice like sage green or blush pink, it kind of shows that little ripple. I felt like it just didn't heal flat. So when I'm talking about a C-section shelf, I know there's many variations. People might be thinking, oh, I'm going to have this big overhang of skin, or you could even have just a little speed bump, which is what I'm talking about in my situation. This is just to give some context that a C-section can be very traumatizing. It can be very crippling on your self-image of yourself. When you get home and you see this big incision, you see this kind of bloody, purpley, bruised mess, and it's like, whoa, that was never there on my body before, and it's in an intimate part of my body, and it's something that I see every day. It looks different. It feels different. Well, I wanted to pay some attention to that because it really affects how you think about yourself, but it is very short-lived because that immediate time, and I say immediate time, but it went up to 3 years for me, that scar changes, it evolves, it grows with you, and it becomes so much a part of you that you don't even notice it anymore. It becomes flat. You don't feel it. It feels like a regular part of your skin, if that makes sense. So this episode is for you mamas out there that maybe are planning to have a C-section, or you have had a C-section and you're looking at your scar thinking, what the heck is this? What is my body now? What am I going to do about this? How do I get this feeling a way that I'm confident about, feeling a way that I feel sexy about myself with perhaps a little shelf or perhaps a raised scar? What are the things that I can do? First, I would say don't obsess about it. Don't do all the crazy things with it for a year. This is personal experience. I didn't wait a year. And I'm telling you, wait a year before you start doing anything cosmetic, any scar rejuvenation, any of that kind of stuff, because your body is going through so many changes. Give it the time, give it the year. When you first get out, I believe it's 6 weeks after that the scabbing is gone and you can start to manipulate and massage your scar a bit. And that is quintessential to healing your body. People, from what I have seen and from what I have read, People end up having a really strong C-section shelf because they have not loosened that scar. So picture it. Picture your body being filleted open so your baby can come out. And I've said this in a previous episode of, go back and listen to that one. If you're having a C-section, what can you expect? Basically, there are 3 different incisions and they all go different directions. So you're getting horizontal, vertical, and then horizontal again in modern medicine. And they are tying that back up with a needle and thread so freaking tight so that your insides don't come out to your outsides, right? So they're doing that so tight so everything stays together. And now your body in that moment is maybe 30, 40, 50 pounds heavier than you typically are. And they're putting everything back together. And you are going to morph and evolve over this postpartum period. Your weight is going to fluctuate drastically. And that skin is going, what the heck? I was put back together at this weight, and now I have to readjust back to this weight that you maybe are now, which is 30 pounds less. So if I'm explaining myself correctly, that is what creates this shelf. It's this tightness, but it's also the skin that was very stretched and is now coming back to a more contracted state. It is not as loose as it was. So what you want to do with that scar is scar massage. Hi everyone, it's Kelly. Thank you for joining me here on the podcast. If this is your first time here, or if you are a regular listener to the show, I wanted to jump in here and ask you to give the show a rating and leave something in the comments. It drastically helps the show. It helps spread it to other mamas all around the world, and it is so appreciated by us over here at the show. So thanks in advance, and let's get back to the show. Well, first, before I say anything about what you can do about it, give yourself some goddamn grace. You had a C-section. You gave birth to a baby. Your body went through a massive surgery and a huge trauma. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some time. Don't speed that up and try to rush a recovery. That is something I think every new mom needs to hear. You went through something major. Nobody gives a what your C-section scar looks like that early on. You do, and it really, really matters how you feel. And I can say that with my whole heart because that's how I felt after, where I was just obsessing about this thing going, oh my gosh, I've been botched. Look at this. Like I couldn't believe it. I wish someone had told me, give it time, because this is a very, very brief spark of time that will pass and it will look drastically different in the years to come. The next thing I wanted to say is to give yourself some time before I say what you can do about it. Give yourself some time. Like I just said, the grace and the time, it is essential. And when you're rushing something and rushing to fix something, rushing to change something, nothing ever works well in that scenario. I mean, for us ladies out there, think of looking at a hairstyle and going, ooh, I love that. Booking an appointment with a hairdresser, going in the next day, getting it done, and then coming back going, oh dear. What the hell did I do to my hair? This doesn't suit me. I didn't think enough about it. I didn't spend enough time with this. So I'm saying that in a facetious way because I know it's nothing like that. It's nothing the same as doing hair and having a C-section scar, but give yourself some time. Great things take time. So now that you understand a little bit of the anatomy, and again, go back and listen to that episode about C-sections and what to expect, you have 3 different incisions: horizontal, vertical, horizontal. And they are deep. So you are only looking at the horizontal one that is on the surface of your skin, and you have 2 very deep scars. Now, there are so many things that you can do with that, but just like exercise, you have to do the work. Nobody is going to do that for you. So if you don't want to have a shelf, if you want to have a nice flat scar that you can pick up and move just like the rest of your skin, you don't want to have adhesions, you don't want to have any tightness, you don't want to have any pelvic floor problems, any sexual problems, you have to do the work. Which means you have to find a perinatal course or a perinatal therapist and learn, honestly, YouTube, how to do a C-section scar massage and learn how to pick that up and roll it in your fingers and pick it up and move it and stretch it and become one with that scar. Move that scar so it becomes part of your skin. That takes a tremendous amount of time. When you start doing it, it's painful. I remember then it turns into kind of being gross. I remember a lot of like popping and clicking and like stuff was like making sounds and feelings that I didn't think were normal underneath my skin. And then one day, maybe like 3 months after, it just moved. It was like jello. It moved with the rest of my skin where I was like, wow, this is like butter. Like it feels normal. And I could pick it up and I could do everything that I wanted to it. And I don't feel like there's anything abnormal at all about my scar anymore. And it is so flat and I don't have any kind of a shelf or anything like that because I feel like I did the work. So I'm saying that to you. If you want to have a flat, smooth scar, even if it looks like HELL, like mine did when I came out, and again, leave it in the comments and I will share photos of my before and after of what it looked like. Shocking. You would not believe it's the same body. It's amazing what work and time does to a C-section scar. They evolve and they change and then they cease to bother you if you do the rehab for yourself. So I brought up the C-section scar massage as the most important thing. And I do feel like that is the most important thing. You are stretching, you are moving that. I think it is imperative to do things like yoga and be more in touch with your pelvic floor and to be doing all those kind of movements, Pilates, yoga, scar massage, working on your pelvic floor, crucial for healing a C-section scar the very healthy way. Now, there's also things you can do. You can do RF microneedling. You can do laser therapies. You can do body contouring. Think of like a lymphatic massage. So before I ramble too much, body contouring is crazy. I wanted to share something personal. So I have it's like a body sculpting thing. It basically feels like a really nice massage that just goes all over your body. And when I put it over my belly, so right underneath my belly button and picture my C-section scar 6 inches or so below that, I felt like this weird tightness, kind of like just like a sensation where I'm like, oh, it feels like there's a ribbon underneath there going vertically. And then a little bit lower, before I hit my C-section scar, I felt that same ribbon going horizontally. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is generating like vibration all the way to those deep scars that I have never ever felt in 4 years. So there are so many things that you can do and you can continually work even when you think you've done all the work. And I must say, like, I'm patting myself on the back. I feel like I did everything and I did it right for my C-section scar recovery. But then even doing this body massage thing, it's going into these deeper layers. I'm like, oh, wow, these are areas I wasn't aware of and areas I didn't even get to before. Amazing. And just being more in tune with your body. So wanted to put this episode out there because a lot of women are really worried about how it looks, how it feels, and it's a part of your body. It matters. It matters how you feel. I think the most important thing in your life is how you feel. How your outlook on life is, how you feel inside. There's nothing more important than that. So if this is something that's bothering you, or if this is something that's coming up and something that you think may bother you, there are many things that you can do about it to make it not bother you. So I hope this episode gives you some consolence on that it's not going to change you in a way that you don't recognize yourself anymore. And, with 1 in 3 women in North America, at least, having C-sections as a delivery method, this is something a lot of women deal with. So maybe you are going in for a C-section, maybe you have recently had one, or maybe you had one a decade ago. I hope this episode kind of helps you understand some of the changes, some of the stuff that you can do about it, and send me some comments. Leave me some notes on what your experience is. I love hearing about other mothers' experiences and other birth stories and how vaginal births and cesarean births come into place and how recovery is and how your view on yourself changes after you have had a child, one of the very many different ways that we can have children. So that's all for today. Thanks for joining me, friend. I will talk to you in the next episode. Until then, be easy on yourself. Give yourself some grace. You're doing awesome. Okay? I'll talk to you soon.